Hello friends, fans, and dairy products of all ages. This is Cheese of Ages with just another video I decided I wanted to make. Sure, my previous video talking about something that could be considered a political thing got relatively little views, but considering my videos that get good views only get about 12, what the hell do I care? The key to enjoying YouTube as a content creator is making the content you want to make. So whenever I get the feeling that I want to talk about something and make a video about it, I'm just going to make a video about it. If you enjoy it, huzzah. I am going to be doing content that my viewers enjoy naturally, because I enjoy that too. I would have never made them if I didn't enjoy that content. So, hey, I do care about my viewers, but I wanted to make this video, despite the fact that apparently more politically oriented stuff just doesn't get any views. Anyway, I was just thinking, a discussion came up somewhere else where about the educational system, about how there's a lack of effort from students and student apathy. It's always been a huge major issue, and it's always been a big thing to blame teaching. The teachers. It's like, oh, you've got bad teachers, or the teachers aren't putting in the effort to doing the things you you should do to make the students interested. And really, it's just, in a sense, it's sort of, you can blame the teachers of the teachers to an extent about this, but mainly the problem with our educational system is the formula. And the teachers are taught to teach like this, and teaching like that doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked it's been slowly working less and less over time, because technology, and it's just sped up since the invention of the internet, and skyrocketed since the invention of Google search bars made information even more easy to access. Because if students want to learn about something, all they've got to do is type it in the freaking search bar of the internet. If they want to learn about something, they can just go to YouTube or Google or not 100% reliable Wikipedia. The students of all ages now have information right there in their hands constantly, especially now. Another mark in technology that's caused this whole student apathy thing to skyrocket is even further access to information in the form of smartphones. Now they have everything that teacher knows in their hand all the time. The whole thing is that school is pointless now, because it doesn't do anything. So we need a format adjustment. The whole thing, the key weakness in the school system has been brought up a lot. The key weakness of the school system as a whole is that it was configured to teach to the majority and doesn't customize itself to the level of the actual student body. The format is, you can't teach to the smartest dudes in the class because there's really dumb people in the class. So they make it where they teach towards the middle ground, in theory. And this has established a level at which they teach this at this rate, and it has not adjusted to the progression of information access. School is currently formatted as if libraries were the easiest access you had to information, when that has not been the case for a long time. Why the fuck do and when I was going through school, history class for an example, I pretty much had the same book from 3rd to 9th grade. Why the frack am I studying the same exact history in the exact same way? Why am I taking the exact same lesson 5 to 8 times? Just repeating the same material over and over again. There's no more depth. There's no more exploring different aspects of things. There's no expanding on the previous year's content. It's just, okay, here's the American Revolution. 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 Oh, extract lesson 2 of the respective years. Here's the Civil War. Here's the Civil War. Here's the Civil War. Here's the Civil War. Ending period, like freaking, here's the Gulf War. Here's the Gulf War. Here's the Gulf War. Here's the Gulf War. Here's these things, like, we barely touch the world history really at all. We only touch Europe. What is this? Why is there no progression in history lessons? There's no growth or expansion on subjects. There's no deeper exploration of specific things. We don't explore world history to any extent. Our history lessons don't link at any point to science. We don't explore the history of sciences at any point. There's no crossover there to build interest between the two and crossover. Why can't we get people that are good at science and not interested in history to be more interested in history because of the history of science, or people that aren't good at particularly interested in science but like history crossing over? It's some science history. That's actually pretty interesting. What the hell? Why is this? Why is there no progression? Why is there no linking? We're wasting all of this time doing the same lesson over and over and over again and never building on it. And it's silly. It's stupid. It's been said before, and it's quite accurate, that you can condense the entire 12-year curriculum into 6. And that any human being of intelligence could graduate high school by the age of 12 or 14 if the educational system was structured more properly. And I believe it is greater to that extent, even though I said more properly, and that is terrible grammar. It is true to an extent. You get students that are smart that just don't fracking care and don't perform. You're getting falling off freaking English skills because students are ignoring the teacher, the educational system, and spending all of their time getting and learning information from the internet. The internet is what makes education bad, because education doesn't integrate the internet enough. It doesn't factor in technology. Why isn't there a curriculum about that, and that includes etiquette and use of the technology? The reason why there's so many stupid people on the internet with crazy beliefs and super terrible grammar and are offensive as frack is, one, they can get away with it because it's the internet and there's internet anonymity, and two, it's because there's nobody teaching them about etiquette. Using the internet properly and interacting with people on the internet, social interactions, and no one's teaching them that. Because the parents are expecting the educational system to educate their students about that technology elements, and the educational system is expecting the parents to teach people proper etiquette. So they're both expecting, why are you not doing this? And nobody's doing it. And why is there? We're in a very social. We've always been a social species, but we're even in an even more social period of our evolution, because technology enables us to talk and interact with anyone at any point, at any time, constantly. With smartphone technology, we could be talking to somebody for clear across the planet at every waking moment if we wanted to. It's crazy at the level of technology we have these days. We could pretty much take freaking walking tours of Brazil from Oklahoma and have conversations with the people that are out and about. It's freaking insane, the technology we have, but we're not developing on it. We have no social education in high schools or elementary schools. Why? There is no... The formula does not... If you're just doing what the formula teaches you to do, you're not engaging your students in group activities. You're not getting them, you're not egging the answers out of them. You're not getting them involved. You're just putting the answers on the board. The formula relies on teachers going out of their way to pull students into the lesson and gives them no tools to do so. Why is there not social projects? Why aren't social events at schools a bigger priority? Why don't they engage in group activities or at lower elementary levels have inter-class projects and maybe integrate that at some point at higher levels? It would be such a good thing at a very young baseline level when your kids are just entering school and it's kindergarten through maybe third or second grade. Have it where you teach them things and then have them interact with other classes, sharing their knowledge with the class. Have your class go share their knowledge, make a presentation to another class or something like that. It would be so good to do that because you're having cross-class lessons in which you're interacting with another classroom teaches you inherently how to be social with people you don't normally interact with. It's proto-netiquette lessons, essentially. Oh, that person I usually don't see and go communicate with. And we're interacting in this social forum. And we're sharing our knowledge, on the internet. And more social event-oriented things in school to get people more interacting with each other and be more branching out and less isolated. Whereas all socials our technology is, we don't interact person to person as much as we used to, typically. Because we don't need to interact person to person anymore. We can just call the person or talk to them on the internet or do anything. We need to establish a baseline in the formative years of our kids to have a social threshold. Teach them how to be social, how to interact with people, how to involve people in their lives, and give them an interest in spreading knowledge and being beneficial to other people. Because if you make kindergartners have a fun, interesting social experience sharing knowledge with other kids, they feel better and have a positive reaction to being beneficial to other people. To oh, I shared my knowledge with you, and I helped you teach something. I helped you learn something. And they grow up with that positive experience about helping other people. Why aren't these things done? The educational system is just stretched out and misses things that are crucial in our society. And it's slowly causing a stagnation in student giving a fuck. Startling revelation. I'm a high school dropout. And I'm actually a reasonably intelligent individual. I'm not a genius or anything. But in high school, I was never doing my homework, never participating in any lessons, acing tests consistently, unless it was math. Because at a point you can't just not pay attention to the formulas and get passing grades. But you know how I was killing my time in some of the classes? Learning about things at my own pace. I passed my physics course not because I got good grades, but because out of my own freaking interest and about a certain subject, wrote a 7-page thesis disproving the Big Bang Theory and turning it into my teacher. I mean, it wasn't quantum physics, but it presented sound physics-based theories about how the Big Bang Theory didn't work. And my physics teacher is like, hey, yeah, you know physics. You pass. Just because I did something because I was fucking bored with the formula. You know, I got out of that grade. You know, well, that, like, subject. You know. There needs to be some format that they need to reevaluate the spread of how spread thin the knowledge is, and integrate some technology in there. I know they're like putting computers in schools a bit, but they're like not really fully utilizing it as they could. You know, I'm sure there's something that they can do to more adjust on a student by student basis. With the internet these days, why are we having such little interaction on a global level? You know, why are there not programs where you can take correspondence courses over the internet for high school subjects? Why is there not like some sort of like big like semi-corporate non-profit thingamajiggy in which like good teachers get on the internet and teach and like share knowledge and like make freaking lessons and programs and interact with students via like the site's chat service, in which they can like correspond with students and form classes and just teach freeform. And you can get like one good teacher and get that one good teacher teaching more than just like a few hundred people a year, like in like, so you got like 7 periods in a day in my old high school, you know, each of which had like 25 to 30 people in it. That's not even reaching to, like, that's 200 people, 250 tops. In that sort of format, you could like have that same good teacher, instead of teaching 250, could comfortably teach thousands. You know, you could like, and you could get like genius, like 15-year-olds learning medical information, you know, via chat rooms, and like getting into colleges really quickly, and like pursuing their fields and specialties, and having their weaknesses precisely identified and compensated for with precision. If you've got something like that running the education, I'm not saying completely do away with like schools in a building, because one of the important reasons for schools is to like teach social interaction, even though they don't have courses dedicated to it or to go out of their way. You go to school to learn how to interact with society as much as you do to learn subjects. But there needs to be some integration of correspondence courses available to the students as a whole. Like, bring that correspondence course to the classroom, in which you can, like, hell, schools wouldn't even need a dedicated heavy teacher in the room as often in as many places if they're spreading it out that much. Just have one there for the purposes of like having a teacher there that knows the subject and can like interact on a person-to-person level and guide the subject, you know, when necessary. But a correspondence thing on the internet would enable more customized things, more precision things, guided by an in-person teacher to like make sure everything's monitored and flowed, and making sure like everybody is going at a fairly regulated pace, like troubleshooting the whole process, and getting the class to unify as a whole, like towards group projects. Like the group, like class projects could be handled by the in-person teacher, sort of thing. There's so much they could do. So much they could do with today's technology. I mean, with today's technology and ease of information access, there's like so much more things you could do with a much smaller budget. I mean, the initial pay-in of getting the technology into the classroom is a big expenditure, but having the best teachers and information sources on hand all the time, constantly right there, that level of like having like hiring the best teachers, and having enough staff to teach everybody as they need, and having like academic resources. Today's technology saves so much money. If they just are willing to throw together the thing necessary to take advantage of it. But no, they're slowly, far too slowly, trying to catch up. But the rate of information access is just corroding the school system, because they haven't tweaked the rate of education to the rate of access of information. It's not, and they're not teaching people how to properly be internet people. They've never made enough effort to make people socially functional, even though a big thing in high school is you learn how to be a person. You learn how society works in high school. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that can freaking attest to this, because there's nothing from the staff to like properly structure this, no attempt to guide this process, because let's let them figure it out on their own. High school's social structure is very similar to the stereotypical prison social structure, where people, there's an economy based on drugs and cigarettes, and not just like big bad drugs like energy pills and like anything you can stick in your mouth. There's an economy for it in high school, and I do mean everything. Even in good schools, it's similar to a prison system's economy. An economy and utilities and like commodities under there. There's the whole like big dog in the yard shit going on. There's cases of like people just needing to get their ass kicked to learn how to be a social human being, and they're becoming much better people because they got their shit kicked in. I can't count the number of people whose shit I kicked in and improved them for it when I was in high school. But yeah, some really smart kid not being at all interested in the progression of the lessons and kicking people's shit in that picked on him in a prison social environment, dropping out of high school and like making videos on YouTube that nobody watches. I mean, sure, some of that was my own like a lack of like I should buckle down and learn this shit, but what could I have achieved if like the educational system worked? If the educational system was more suited to my rate and engaging me and grabbing me and pulling me into it and interacting with people, maybe I'd be a more social person. Maybe I would have a doctorate or something. Maybe I wouldn't be able to do like calculus, instead of never even having taken a trigonometry course. I never got past fracking geometry 2. Not geometry 2. Freaking, I didn't complete algebra. Because I didn't fucking care. And I'm terrible with numbers. Nobody ever engaged me in anything. Nobody tried to like involve the class in lessons. I had a geometry teacher that basically like was writing on the board and there's like this and this and this and this and this and this, and like any questions? You ask a question, I'm giving you a look. Fuck you. Why you make me work? And then he would do the exact same explanation, and then he would sit down after giving you a look. It's like, if you don't get it, even though I didn't explain it in any way, you're stupid. And he would sit down. Kind of teacher that like goes into the office and complains about all of his students not getting above a 6 in a certain class. not a 6, a 16 average in one class, and saying that his students are stupid. If an entire classroom of 30 people can't get above a 20 average in your class, it's your fault, motherfucker. If your students' averages are falling every year, it's you. Anyway, I've rambled enough about this subject, so I'm just going to sign off this video. Well, I'll be back to my usual content relatively quickly. I'm not going to be doing a lot of these somewhat politically oriented things. I just had the mood. Probably going to do some 5e content, or maybe do a review of some of this other systems I'm playing. And I'm working on updating some of my D&D 4th edition content and some of my unconverted 3.5 content from my campaign setting to 5th edition. So I'll get videos out on that, updating my old retro campaign setting videos that kind of petered off after the 2. But yeah, look forward to those, I guess. For the time being, though, this will be Cheese of Ages, signing off.